Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 4 of my Let's Play of Hellion. And we skipped a little bit of time. We've dropped off our main station core, and we are just now positioning ourselves to pick up our airlock module that we've gone back for in order to be able to set up a functional base short term for our operations. Now again, we are lining everything up here to dock this to the back end of our ship, which is the sort of tugboat element. Oh, overshot there a bit. And that alignment indicator on the top is basically telling us how well aligned with the angle and position of that door we are. So now we're going to go ahead and take this back. And you'll see a lot of, especially if you have watched a lot of videos on Hellion, you'll see a lot of people going through this process. Getting their base set up at the start, going through and sifting through all the debris and wreckage and all of the junk. So that's something that you're going to have to get used to when playing this game, because due to it being early access and still in development, it's something you're going to do a lot of, unfortunately. So you'll when you first do it, you're going to be very hemming and hawing about, oh, what should I do next? What's the next thing that I have to do? But as you get sort of old hat at it, you'll start to become very efficient in terms of going through and saying, okay, this is what I need to do first, this is what I need to do second, and just prioritizing all of your stuff. Very few people get this game when they first start. They don't understand, other than the concept of it being a really brutal survival game. They don't really understand how unforgiving this game can be and will be to you. Now, a lot of the feedback that we've provided as the testing crew has allowed them to add in features that make this game playable and not, whoa, why are you not docking in? There we go. Oh, my angle was off. Alright. Alright, so now that we've attached, we're going to go ahead and turn our nav back on. Home station. And again, we're going to warp back to our home station. Reuse that one and that one. And our FTL is offline again. Okay. Turn that down, turn that down. And initialize. Okay. So again, we're going to angle our ship towards the alignment that we need to be on. And we're going to get ready for warp. Now there's a specific element of warp that I haven't covered yet that you really need to pay attention to. I do it out of habit because I've died horribly without it. But you have to look at what's in your flight path, both in the navigation and in just your local space. Because once you start to warp, the game does not care that you're in warp. If you fly through an asteroid or a moon or a planet, you die, period. You know, mostly because you're colliding into the surface of a planet at an astronomical speed. So yeah, you die horribly and quickly. So that is something that you have to kind of get used to in terms of operating in this game. So for instance, if you go to warp and you happen to have your ship pointed past your own station, well, there's going to be a problem with that, because as you go to warp, you're going to clip your station, and you're going to die, but you're also going to obliterate sections of your station because they happen to be hit by you. So you really, really have to be careful about your warp. I don't know how many times I've had an instance where, where I've warped and unforeseen complications have happened, and I ended up in a decaying orbit without knowing it until like it was well and truly too late. There's a variety of different things that can and will happen to you. I had one where my friend Darkenclaw, the guy that I play with a lot of the time, he did a warp for us, and it was from one planet to another. And what he didn't account for was the movement of the moons. So our flight path took us right through the orbit of one of the other moons. And it was in just the right place and timing that when we arrived at that particular point, the moon was also occupying that particular space. So the moon kind of won in that traffic accident. And we both just we're sitting in our ship, doing our stuff, getting ready to go raid a station that we were looking at, and we were getting all our gear ready and stuff. And all of a sudden, we both immediately got the screen, "You have died," and that was it. We were like, "What the heck?" And then when we went back through it, we looked at the recordings and saw that he had basically flown us through a moon, and that was the end of our party. It was like, oh well, that's the end of that one. So you have to actually consider what's going on. Let's see how close we landed. 17 kilometers, not bad. A little bit of an overshot, but I can live with that. Now I have been trying to work with the devs on this about getting us a set of instrumentation notations that whoa, what the hell? Not cool. Oh shit, why in God's name? Okay, hold on. That's a problem. I think we got an air leak. What's going on here? Mask on. What's going on? Air quality is down to 30. Why is air quality down to 30? Are we venting? Are we on fire? What's going on here? Oh, you know what? I didn't turn the life support on. Okay. Life support on. Air filters on. There we go. That would be good. Say, because the bridge and the main deck are at 40%. The airlock room and the cargo bay are slowly depreciating. And those ones are all at 0 because that's depressurized. Alright. Okay. Power up the air generator. And I think no, I don't have a spare resource injector. Alright. Well, that could have been better. So we will have to park this thing without the assistance of our oxygen for the moment. So, whoa, what is going on here? Okay, there's something going on with the controls here. If that auto assist is on, oh my god, that's why. Okay. Auto stabilization, I hate. It's a feature that they originally made as a default as part of the game, and those of us who have played space games absolutely rejected out of hand because of how unpleasant it is for us. So that's why the stupid thing was fighting me. Okay. Better. I was wondering why my system was fighting me. Okay. There's still some weird anomalies here, but we're still doing all right. All right, so we're gonna set this up to about 100 meters per second for our approach speed. Now, when you miss by like large margins, that's when you're gonna end up using your engine. Even though it costs a lot of power, it is one of the more useful tools because it allows you to gain and lose a lot of forward and backward speed, respectively, in a very, very short amount of time. The thing you'll have to remember, though, is that it does not have any effect on your lateral thrust, which can be a huge, huge problem. All right, so we're on approach. Gonna get within 10 kilometers here. So as you see, we're losing about a point a second for our distance because we're covering that distance very fast. One of the mistakes I regularly see people do is that they'll constantly keep turning their nose to point at the thing that they're trying to get to, and that doesn't work in space. Because if you just keep pointing at the thing you're trying to get to, you're just creating a spiraling orientation of thrust. And it becomes harder and harder to control where you're going. So we're starting to pick up lateral speed. So I'll start slowing this down here. Bring this down to about 50 because it's about to spike up on us here. Alright, we're close enough now that I can actually change my orientation to point towards the station. And then we can start, oh, yep, see, there it goes. There's that weird glitch here. Alright, and what I'm doing right now is I'm killing off my lateral thrust here. So we're still approaching at a relative, whoa, we're starting to get a little too fast there. Alright. So let's fly back this way here. Okay. Come on, what is up with that? It's not the autocorrect. It has to do with something else. Alright, so need to correct that motion and that motion. And now we need to have positive distance gain. Okay, so now we've come within a few 100 meters of the station, which consists of just this one pod right now, but it's a start. So let's get involved here and get set up here. Now, I tend to be very, very meticulous when it comes to my maneuvering, and that's really what you should be looking for in terms of if you've got a group of friends who are playing this together. The guy who is okay, I'm gonna have to do this with whatever oxygen I've got left in the. Should have had enough time to filter out the oxygen problems here. Oh, we're in the wrong orientation here. Hold on. That was not what I had intended. Alright. Kill that. Kill that. Oh. Too much, too much. Now, in order for you to match speed with the station, you have to basically be under 2 meters per second in either horizontal and lateral movement. So now that we've matched speeds, let me turn this around here. All right, stop it there. It's really having sort of an odd moment here, because my controller, my mouse positioning here, you can see that little arrow that appears. It shouldn't be acting this way, but it is. Okay, we've gone ahead and we've released the module. Actually, I'm going to keep that lever up so that it doesn't reattach here. Alright, so the docking module is clear. We're going to go ahead and get out. And I'm going to need to swap out my pack here. So let's go ahead and put that there. Pull up a fresh one. All set. And let's get going here. What's my air quality? Is still crap. I'm going to have a problem here. Life support is going to be an issue very, very soon here. Yeah, that depressurized super, super fast. Little terrifying. So I've taken basically a little bit of damage here. Okay, so we're going to the outpost, we're going to the standard docking port, and we want docking port B. So we're going to go ahead and move this down here. And there we go. Okay. What the bloody freaking hell? Okay, so this is obviously a bug in the build, having to do with RCS controls and with the stabilization. So now, as somebody who relies quite heavily on the stabilization, this will affect me greatly. It affects my ability to stop things from happening. See, because I'm hitting stabilization and it's not helping. But now if I do something, see, it's twisting my view. Alright, so I'll probably flag this video for the devs to take a look at. Like, I'm hitting stabilization and we're not stabilizing. So I'm still rotating, I'm still doing all the things that stabilization should be fixing, but it's not. That is a very, very frustrating position for me. But this build did just come out today, so they'll probably have some fixes for it. But for the devs, yeah, so every time you see it jerk, that's right after I've hit stabilization, and then I'm trying to change my thrust from one direction to another. It'll suddenly jump to another facing position. I'm not sure what the deal with that is, but it's happening consistently. And it's extremely, see, there it goes again. It's extremely detrimental to flight control in almost every regard, because pilots who have gotten used to this use stabilization religiously. And if stabilization is no longer reliable, it's going to make this build highly difficult to work with. So we'll be logging that bug later. See, there it goes again. I just thrusted forward and it jumped up to where my ship would have been if I hadn't slowed my progress and stabilized. All right, so that's docked on. Let's go ahead and close this up here. Now, because this is going to be staying in place for a while, we no longer need this RCS this resource injector there. We can use it somewhere else. It looks like we may have some internal damage. Nope, external. External damage right here. Okay, so a little bit of damage there fixed. Looks like there is still some internal damage, but we're going to go back, we're going to get the ship, we're going to dock it up, and that's going to be the end of this episode, I think, while we go ahead and log the error report for the issue with the orientation and the stabilization. Well, the name on the side of my ship didn't change either. That's frustrating. Damn it. Took some hits when I was going back for the airlock module and did some damage. Not happy about it, but what the hell? Okay, there's bug number 2. The airlock pressure is bugging out. Let's go ahead and log out and log back in. Because that's weird as hell. You get this with it's sort of a goes with the territory kind of deal with the experimental builds. Stuff just goes squirrely, and we put up with it so that you don't have to, for the most part. Okay. Why are those oh my gosh. I'm going to die. You know why? Because I'm not in the same orbit that I was in. Okay, so we're going to be putting this video to the devs. I'm going to die, so I'm going to lose this helmet. I'm going to lose that resource injector. Damn it! I'm going to lose all of those too, and all my ammunition. This is why you're supposed to store your stuff. Don't go out without stuff that you can actually get through. So, unfortunately, I'm going to die. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it. We can try logging again. But since it put us back in a previous orbit, there's, I can't make orbital maneuvers with an RCS pack. It's not possible. So we'll see where it drops us here. Please drop me back in my ship. Okay. Yeah, so the server basically incorrectly identified my environment. See, this is what happens when you suffocate and take damage. You get the bleeding effect on the sides of the eyes here real soon. And it takes a long time for us to die. We're gonna die. And you can hear the heartbeat speeding up as the body's going, no, don't die. Wow, that is taking a lot longer to die than I thought reasonable. We've been dying for over a minute now. Well, that's a good note for the future. We suffocated at 55 seconds. That's a pretty damn good death time. So we're going to go with continue. That should bring me back in my life pod here. So I should, if life is fair, open this up. Don't need that. Okay, close the outer door, pressurize. Open the inner door. I should put a suit on. I just realized I'm not wearing a spacesuit. That could have gone horribly bad. Now you have a limited supply of these suits, so, try to die sparingly, as they say. Okay. Okay, so they've changed the cycle rate on these airlocks. Whoa! And where's my ship? Where are you? Where are you? You are there. Okay. And moving quite rapidly. Okay. So there are a few issues. Let's see if we can get into this, because if it doesn't, then we're going to be kind of hosed. Okay, so okay, so that just happened. Okay, and pressurize. Okay, open inner door. That's a weird little glitch. Anyway, we're right at about the 30-minute mark here, so I'm gonna dock this up real quick, and then we're gonna cut this off, and I'm gonna use some of the see if the dev commands are still enabled, and if they are, I'm just gonna basically give me back the things that I lost, so that we can continue on our happy way here as we set things up here. All right, so docking. Oh, of course not. That would be too simple. Doesn't recognize that there's a. Well, actually, here, wait. Let's get into this. Get into the controls. Now, check the docking controls. Okay. Let's go ahead and get ourselves positioned towards the side that we want to dock on here. And then we will see if it remembers that there's a airlock module there or not. Okay, and match target. Okay, so now we're not drifting away. We're going to log out and log back in. This is usually how you fix most of the problems with the experimental builds, is logging out and logging back in will get it to remember what the hell it's supposed to be doing. Now if this catapults me to another orbit again, then we're going to have some serious problems. I love how it loads in the worst condition possible for your ship first, and then everything gets better. Like, oh, everything's horrible, just kidding. Okay, so we're in the docking camp. There we go. So now we're gonna pivot this way here. And there we go. Now it's actually kind of funny is that people always forget how big this ship actually is. Like, people see it and they go, oh, well, it's a tiny little ship, but it's actually got quite a bit of beef to it. And I've seen a dozen people, especially my friend, crash this ship because they don't respect how big it actually is. Okay. See, now the stabilization's working. That's so weird. I wonder if it's just like an error that gets fixed with the logging. If it is, then it's obviously something that we have to address, but then we have at least a workaround. Okay. So we've got that airlock and it's open. I always forget to close those stupid airlocks. Oh, that brings up another important piece of information that I forgot to mention. When I was ranting earlier, and I think it was in the previous video or possibly this video, about closing your doors and locking them, I meant on the ship, not on your station. And there's a reason for this. Without a command module, you don't actually have a claim to that station. So if, like, I were to lock that airlock door right there, and then try to come in, then the door would prevent me from entering, and I'd basically lock myself out of my own station, which would be less than ideal, obviously. Should be a good clean docking here. And docked. Good to go. Alright. So now I'm going to go ahead and end the video. We're going to go ahead and use some console commands to get stuff back that we lost, and then we will go from there. Until next time, I'm Wrath, and I'll catch you on the flip side.